Hey, what's up, family? It's your boy Tony, and it is the 83rd episode of Tone's Takes. Thank you all for joining me. Just listening to some Extreme Ways by Moby here. Wanted to just jump in. Let's jump in, and this episode is being brought to you by the March for Lives, because kids got to do what they got to do. They protested on DC. I think they had more people marching on DC than they did for Trump's inauguration, and many of the students gave better speeches, such as the 11-year-old, than Donald Trump. There was even a just over 6-minute moment of silence and reverence or respect for the students that lost their lives at Marjory Stoneman Douglas a month ago, February 14th. Students, children all across the nation are literally fighting for their lives and fighting for their future and the future of our nation, really. So, hey, if the lawmakers can't figure things out, eventually you will be voted out of office. And if you aren't doing anything about gun control, don't even think about running for office, because sooner or later these students that are in high school, they're going to be able to vote, and they're going to vote straight out. But I didn't want to talk about that. What I wanted to talk about is our wonderful F.B.I. and our Justice Department. So that's why I've got Christopher Wray here from the F.B.I. Department. Because according to this New York Times article that I found, the Justice Department and the FBI are trying to revive a way to push a mandate to unlock phones. Now, the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because it all has to do with our privacy and our security using smartphones, computers, all types of devices. And I wanted to know where most people stood on this issue, because on the one side, having the ability, letting the government have the ability to have a backdoor to such devices could be a good thing. We knew that a few years ago, back in 2016, the San Bernardino shooter, basically the government wanted Apple to give them access to this guy's iPhone, and Apple said no. And I sided with Apple. I said, this is a slippery slope. They're trying to use this tragedy as a way to gain access to one person's phone, and then they'll have access to everyone's phones. But this just keeps coming up over and over again, and it's starting to get scary. So this Christopher Wray guy, he said, basically the FBI has been agitating for versions of a mandate since 2010, complaining that the spreading use of encryption is eroding investigators' ability to carry out wiretap orders and search tap warrants, a problem that they call going dark. And yes, it is a problem, but I don't know if creating a backdoor is really the solution to that. Greg Federici, if you know who he is the senior vice president at Apple for software engineering, and he put it quite simple. He stressed the importance of strengthening, not weakening, security protections for products like the iPhone, saying that threats to data security were increasing every day, as we've seen just with the Cambridge Analytica Facebook thing, and just data being misused and abused. And he argued that this isn't a question of security versus security, it's a question of security versus privacy. And I just don't think the government is really getting that, because basically the National Academy of Sciences put together a committee, and they completed an 18-month study on the encryption debate, and they published a report last month, and I'll probably link to that in the description. While it largely described challenges to solving the problem, one section cited presentations by several technologists who are developing potential approaches to creating a backdoor into our phones. And these people, because I wanted to make sure that I named them here, so we can kind of know the people that are, I believe, fighting against us and making sure that we have secure data and secure phones. You've got Ray Ozzie. He is a former chief software architect at Microsoft. Stephen Savage, who's a computer science professor at the University of California, San Diego. Ernie Brickell, he's a former chief security officer at Intel. Couldn't find a picture on him. And this last person, David Weitzner, he's a computer science professor. And they've all been pretty much working with the FBI to come up with some sort of a backdoor solution into our phones. And it's just really worrying because you've got these masterminds that are coming together to find a way to undermine the security and the privacy of all of us daily citizens. And basically what they put together is a way to get inside of our phones. And this is just one way. They talked about working with banks and a software called Symphony and finding a way to get through their encryption. And they said it, at the end of the day, it was secure, it was still encrypted, but it was also accessible to regulators so that they could do their jobs and, seeking out the real true criminals or whatever. But again, I'm not buying it. And for one reason, basically, let's say you have a phone. This is one of the approaches that they're looking at. So the idea is that when devices encrypt themselves, they would, so let's say your phone is now encrypted, they would generate a special key in the hardware, baked into the hardware. This is a solution that they're coming up with. They would create a key in the hardware that would basically, if the government came to a tech giant like Google or Apple or Microsoft and said, okay, we need that key under court order, they would be forced to give the government that key to unlock your phone without need of a passcode. And again, this is the kind of stuff that really does scare me, because it's basically like saying, hey, for everyone, anytime we want, we can basically have access to your phone. And it's protected under the Constitution. If you look at the Fourth Amendment, the right of the people to secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects, and a cell phone, a computer, I believe, is an effect, against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause. And yes, I like to believe that our government would abide by this, but at the same time, I know that in an age where anyone can hack anything, if they were to create these keys in our phones and in our computers, encryption would not work ever again. It wouldn't, because next thing you know, we'd be having our data stolen. It would be everywhere. And if you think deleting Facebook is an issue, try getting off of the internet. And part of me, and I don't want to put my conspiracy theorist hat on, so I'm kind of going to end it here, but I just feel like a part of a lot of this that's happening is, in a way, they're trying to get us off of technology, because they're realizing that we're able to communicate with each other so much faster, and it's not allowing them to divide and conquer us the way they used to in the past. But anyway, let me get your thoughts on what you think about, the FBI and their continued push, and the Justice Department and their continued push to try to make a way to unlock phones and, push these mandates down technology giants' throats and into our homes and into our privacy. Are you for it? Are you against it? That's all I've got for you. Let's put back on some more Moby and his extreme ways, because things, like I said, they are getting kind of crazy out here and kind of worrying. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. I'll see you later. Bye.